East Side. Well, what I'm about to say and read will not be probably as strong as the participants before me. East side of town had just about everything for everybody, being whomever. Crossing Main Street, going east, you had the police department and the first black policeman, Bobby Cleanskill and Randolph Morris. Fire department, you had Willie Hunter. We call him Buck Sarge. After passing the main post office, all you knew you were on East Side when you got across Fan Street. There was Kay's grocery store. Behind Kay's grocery store, there was a shirt factory. And across the street was a section of house called Eat Well Alley. This is where Union Mortuary parking lot is today. You see, I'm just gonna tell it like it is. Every side of town had an alley. There was John Wall's Alley on north side. There was Seabrook's Alley. There was John Wall's Alley on south side, Seabrook Alley on north side, and St. Paul Alley on west side. After you pass Eatwell Alley, there was a fork in the road separating Market from Salem. In the fork of the road, there was a cafe, whatever, that was run by Mr. Marion Moot Leroy. On the other side was a house that the Riches stayed in. They were first cousins to Lionel Richie Sr. Going down, let's say Salem, there was a lot of entrepreneurs. There were the first house, Miss Wilhelmina Snipes, Miss Balt Knight, and another sister. Across the street, there was teachers, preachers, beauticians, and doctors, and people that was in agriculture. Beauticians were Miss Evelyn Ware, Miss Pearl Adger, Miss Lucinda Balt Knight, Ministers Reverend Walter Adger and Sr., Jr., teacher Miss Rachel Sander, Miss Ruth Boozer, Miss Edna Stewart, Mrs. Bessie Mayweather, and agriculturist Mr. George Stewart, Dr. Morris Young. Going down Market, there was also small entrepreneurs. The Wares, they were the owner of a refreshment shop on the corner of Short Street and Market. Also next to it was Ware's grocery store, ran by Mr. Jim Ware. And across the street was McDuffie Chapman with a shoe shine parlor. Behind was a well-known teacher, Mrs. Linda Burris Roberts, mother of our mayor, Mr. Terrence Roberts. Going down Market was beautician, Mrs. Ella Johnson, and Mrs. Lily Mae Johnson on Gray Street. Later years on Gray Street was pro football for the Houston Oilers, Mr. George West. Going on Market was a John, Mr. Roy Davis. Mr. Davis's wife, Miss Sybil Davis, was one of the first nurses, along with Miss Ollie Ruth Putman and Mrs. Young, to be over a colored ward at Anderson Memorial. And on the corner of Market and Jefferson Avenue was a white building known as the Center, where I started elementary school. The center was first to the 4th grade. The 1st grade was Mrs. Leslie Thomas. 2nd grade, Mrs. Gwendolyn Anderson. 3rd was Mrs. Rachel Sanders. 4th grade, teacher and principal, Miss Alice Gresham. The center had a lunchroom run by Miss Daisy Hall, and a library ran by Mrs. Wilhelmina Snipes. On Fridays, after school, there would be whereas they would push tables and all the things that they didn't need back. This was the first scene I saw of James Brown. His band consists of, at the time, some East Siders. Thomas Mark Hunter, lead singer, and background singer. Stuart Wilson, saxophone. Robert Brock Carson, guitar Gene, and Buddy T. Later on, Kip Anderson and Max Small joined the group. He was known as Buddy T and the Thrillers. In this area, as I explained, there was 3 sections on Jefferson Avenue. Was a strip that would compete back then with Vegas. A business on one side, Mr. Anderson Thompson, was a barber. Next door was Mr. Mitch Ware, restaurant. Going up Jefferson was the Woodard, Mr. Eddie Woodard, or Woodard McGee Funeral Home. Coming down on the other side, moved over to Jefferson Avenue School. Once you cross over Jefferson,